Zeeshan Pasha and I'm your host. Now, Nifnex TV is where small business challenges that you send in to us get addressed by an expert panel. And what an interesting case study we've got here today. We've got planning your marketing and marketing dollars and the return on investment. So we've got Diann Bates and we've got Reuben Taylor. Now, they're here to talk to us about marketing from a creative perspective, and we've got Reuben from a business coach perspective as well. So let's see what they've got to say and see how we can plan your marketing better. Welcome, Diann and Reuben. Now, the exciting case study that we've got on marketing and looking at the planning the dollars and return on investment. You excited to be here?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
very excited.
Very excited to be here. Now, if you can just introduce yourselves quickly and what perspective you're going to bring to the case study. We can get into the discussion straight away after.
Hi, I'm Diann from Creative Fruition, a marketing and communications company based here in Perth. And we have been supporting small, medium enterprise businesses for over 16 years, helping grow their business and keep the competition at bay. We do that by providing them unique marketing strategies and spend a lot of time assessing what's going on in their businesses as well as what's happening with their competitors so we can find that unique point of difference. Recently we were able to triple the turnover of a local bedding company and put their competition into hibernation. So I'm really looking forward to today's conversation and the importance of helping small, medium enterprise businesses grow.
Fabulous. Looking forward to it as well. Reuben.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm here to represent Business Wealth Educators, business coaching and mentoring organisation. Been working with business here in Perth for the last 14 years.
Wow.
Average bottom line of my clients has increased by 105% over the last 12 months. And
wow, that's huge.
It's been a amazing journey, and certainly marketing is a key part of that. Getting return on marketing is a key part of that, and we'll be sharing some insights today around that.
Fabulous. Can we stick with you for the time being, Reuben? Considering you're the coach as well, and obviously this is something that you come across regularly from your clients who are going, I need to do marketing. Marketing is important to me. How much do I spend? What do I spend it on? And how do I measure the return on investment?
Yes.
So what do you generally advise them?
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot wrapped up into that, but you've hit the nail on the head with a couple of things. First thing is we need to set some clear objectives around who you're targeting. Yeah. And once you've got an idea of who that market is, then I think that's when you can set your objectives around that. Yes. Most business owners I find are very reactive with their marketing. An opportunity comes along, someone says we'd like to advertise in this magazine or on the radio or something like that, and they say, yep, that sounds good, and there's always good evidence. Yeah. But first thing I do is always step them back and say, well, what are you trying to achieve? Who are you actually trying to target? Yeah. And then set a game plan around that. And
hopefully the marketing plan would have already addressed that to start with, whether they have those dollars to, and how much are they allowed to spend on magazine and print and radio and everything else? Yes. Assuming, yeah.
Yeah, so coming back to your question on budget, I like to see marketing as an investment. Like there's different schools of marketing out there. Some is about raising the brand and awareness, and I think that's important at a certain stage in business growth, but for most businesses, if they're spending money, they need to get that return.
Absolutely.
So testing and measuring is critical, but also knowing, well, how much profit will you make from a sale, how much can you invest in your marketing.
So it goes into the nitty-gritty of the dollars and what the margins are by the looks of it.
Yes, yes. So knowing the margin on your first sale, if you're promoting a particular product or service, knowing the margin in that, knowing what it is overall in your business, and so you can actually plan your marketing. Yep. Some businesses will make their return on the first sale, so that they can afford to invest more in marketing, knowing it's going to come back. Yes. Some it might be a longer buying cycle or a longer transaction cycle, got lots of repeat business, so they could even afford to break even or lose money on that first sale, knowing they'll get it in the second or third or fourth sale. Yes. So the key message, I guess, in all this is to really know your numbers, know what is actually driving your business, and then you can plan your marketing around that.
Perfect. And coming from a creative and advertising background, Diann, what is it that you usually recommend to your clients?
Well, I pretty much completely agree with everything that you've said, and I've sort of narrowed it down to 6 points to follow, which would be define your customer first. So really get a core understanding of their needs, wants, hopes, desires, fears. Really understand those niche pain points or what drives them, etc. The second point would be, what's your point of difference to your competitor? And that is huge. If you're going out issuing the same marketing, the same product and no point of difference, you're really not going to gain any traction there. Also, not necessarily in order of priority, is to defining your budget, which you mentioned. And I think that almost actually becomes number one. It's a bit hard to know which comes first, the customer, your competitor, or your budget. And they're all intertwined together, and you can't really take a step forward without having clear direction on all of those. But knowing what your budget is, and then getting some good advice from a business coach or from a marketing specialist in terms of what portion of that budget and what expected returns that you need to justify that direction. Then on top of that is defining the plan. What is that strategy going forward now that you know your customer, your competitors, your budget, etc. I really recommend spending time, energy and effort, and I think you mentioned before people just leaping forward ad hoc with a shotgun approach of their marketing. To some extent there is always trial and error in your marketing, and that comes to my next point, which is measure and repeat. So find out what's working for you, repeat the processes, and keep everything in control there. And also another point is, have a series of action points. Part of the marketing plan should have some action points coming out of that. So often like weight loss or any program people leap into, when they don't have clear action points coming out of that plan, they've got the plan, it sits there, and a man going nowhere normally gets there. So very clear action points coming out of that strategy that you've got.
Fabulous. So you covered those 6 points. So sticking out to the advertising side of things, not every marketing effort needs to have a few dollars put into it. And of course you can think outside the square and get some free marketing ideas. So getting a video testimonial for a client and uploading onto YouTube and then putting that on social media doesn't cost anything. But how do you sort of track those things? Online is easier to track than offline. Do you have any sort of ideas on how people can track and measure the results on marketing?
Yep. So quite simply, I get every one of my clients to ask, by the way, where'd you hear about us? So just finding everyone out, and so it's as simple as that. Asking everyone. Online you can do a lot more because you can track all the links and the click-throughs and all that sort of stuff. But just get in the habit of asking.
Just getting some feedback.
Just ask. Make someone in the team responsible for compiling information, so as a business owner you can then review that information, then make decisions off it.
I did a simple thing the other day. I just got a URL, a website link, put it onto Google, short URL, and I did two of those. I put one of those links onto Facebook, one on LinkedIn, trying to see where other leads or inquiries really coming from, or the clicks coming from. Found out there's, for me especially, I think it was more Facebook than LinkedIn. So about probably 3 to 4 times as much. But that's again online. It's so much easier to track.
Actually, I think depending on whether you're a one-man band or whether you've got a team. Obviously, if you're a one-man band, it's a lot easier to solve in terms of asking the question. Where's this call coming from? How did you get referred to me, etc. And obviously then graciously thanking for the person who did refer you. But if you've got a team of staff, etc., then obviously getting educating them on, if they take a phone call or a sales, to have some way of noting how that new customer came to you, or that return customer came to you, or why that return customer came back to you, and all those sorts of things, and trying to capture that, which I think is a huge challenge for small businesses, because there's always something else to do, and trying to find the go-to person responsible for doing that. Otherwise it does tend to become a bit of hearsay, where you go, oh well, we've had heaps of calls back from that ad, which might only be 3. But was more than one.
Although there's a few other ways of tracking a phone call as well these days, I've been told. We can give a particular number,
Yes.
and then you can track it to work out which number is called, and obviously you can put that number on print and a different magazine or a TV ad, and then see which of those numbers actually
and very
ring.
effective on websites too,
Okay.
having different phone numbers on there.
Yep.
And I know of some people who've sort of set up mirrored websites with different contact details on them, etc., to see were they searching from particular areas, etc., to try and track back where those leads are coming from. And
Same for the email campaign as well. You do your ABs, the split thing, and everything else.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's, any thoughts on online versus offline advertising, as such, from your perspective?
In what way? Well, to me, you need to do both. Most businesses are doing more and more of their budgets into online.
Yeah.
And to me, you need to be online in this
You've
day and
got to
age.
be online,
You've got to have a present. Most businesses aren't embracing that enough. I find they're sort of they're dabbling in it.
Yes.
And they do need to get more expertise behind what there is, because it's changing fast. Some of the algorithms on Google and Facebook and ads, and it also presents some of the opportunities that are in there and how targeted you can be in some of your marketing and really get to not only people in your target market, but actually people ready to buy by being very targeted. Even on Facebook, targeting your competition with your ads. There's a lot of things you can do.
Yes, correct.
With a little bit more
homework. That's what I sort of find these days as we get more and more online. People sort of forgetting the old techniques that used to work offline. Even public speaking, for example, people are going, okay, I need to speak, but how do they track after that? Because it's a form of marketing from my point of view. So how do they now, have feedback forms and those sort of things? Would you agree that is that a good way of measuring?
Yeah, I think definitely measuring the customer experience, if you can, in any way, shape or form, and whether that's you're delivering a speech and getting a feedback there, or whether you take time to keep a register of people who've phoned in. And what I like to do with my own customers, for example, is I basically take a pile of completed job bags, and I go through them, and I also have a electronic version of this and a verbal version where I basically go through and ask them 10 quick questions on a rating of 1 to 5. Were the staff pleasant to deal with? Did they understand the process? A series of questions around the job. And it's also a fabulous opportunity to just engage with the client. And more often than not, there's a gem of information that comes out of each one of those calls. And I think you're actually more likely to get return business by actually just taking the couple of minutes out to have that conversation. They feel heard, they feel understood, and should there be a cause for concern, it's an opportunity to redress that and make good. And done well, you can create a lifelong customer out of an unhappy customer if you solve that problem correctly.
Oh, there you go.
I think that raises another important thing when it comes to setting a marketing budget. Is in most businesses, when they think marketing, they focus on new customers. How do I get new business? And the majority of their budget is onto for new business. Whereas much easier to get existing customer coming back. Many businesses out there have got names, whether it's on their financial packages or they've actually got databases. What are you doing to say, hey, we're still here? What are you doing to getting back in contact with them? How well are you letting you know about all the different products and services you offer? Because if you're not talking to them, chances are your competitors will be.
And also, it doesn't, I think, providing educational material back to them, it doesn't have to be the salesy, where's my next order coming from, more about, and it may be just generalised business matters. It doesn't have to be necessarily about the product or the widget that you're selling, but just sharing of information. You're in business, I thought this might be a valuable tidbit. And then you're seeing, I've done it in recent weeks. I found an article online that was something about what my client was doing. It had nothing to do with marketing. Shot it through to them, and I know they fully appreciated that I was thinking of them and just looking out and sharing the information with them. I guess it gets difficult when you're trying to scale up business. There's difficulties for business growth, and there's difficulties for the smaller business of finding that time out of their life. And I guess that's what I was saying with your marketing strategy. Have those action points, diarise that every Tuesday afternoon I will, once a month call my key clients and touch base, or try and systemize the process of getting those referrals or testimonials, post jobs, etc., and that sort of thing.
Yes. I think that raises another important thing, is that I believe most businesses now, part of their marketing budget needs to be a salary or a wage.
Yeah.
In the past, a lot of it used to be about how much are we going to spend in the newspaper or whatever, but it's about managing people.
Radio and newspaper and 2 marketing channels.
Yes, and you were fine. Yeah. You had a good Yellow Pages ad, you were fine.
Not anymore.
But now it's about relationships. It's about and managing social media, and so it's a lot more that you'll need. Yeah,
so there's no real formula as such. You go sales and the margins, and then get the end product sale price, to then work out how much, that's the amount of money that you put aside for marketing for the year. So that doesn't work anymore.
I beg to differ. I did take the time to do a bit of research to see what people were putting out as effective percentages of turnover or income, etc. And it was interesting to see how far and wide it scaled. To be honest, in terms of the clients I work with, inevitably they've made a decision about their marketing spend, and I'm not privy to making that decision process. I can certainly say this is what it's going to take, but in terms of them deciding whether that fits into the budget or not, etc., or helping them budget. But there were figures as low as 2%, and then there were figures as high as 10%, which is a huge portion. But I guess you'd have to look at an individual business. A lawyer's firm might, to say that everybody needs 2%. If you're a sort of a high volume retail person and you've got to get thousands of customers through, you've got to get mass exposure. Whereas, for example, an exclusive lawyer may only want 20 clients a year, and how he's going to market to those 20 core key clients would be a very different kettle of fish. So
a lot of entertainment and dining and whining. So do you do that much within your own businesses as well, with the whining and dining side of it, and try to measure the return?
It's very interesting these days, certainly in the corporate world and certainly in the government clients, of which we have quite a few. Whining, dining and gifts are off the page. You can't do them. One of my strategies is triple chocolate brownies, as you will.
I've tried that.
And it's interesting to really think outside the square, and just, that's pretty off the mark, but I have got significant corporate clients by giving them triple chocolate brownies at morning tea when I've come to visit, because it's memorable, it's different, it's delicious, and I'm remembered, as opposed to here's my glossy brochure, here's my, I don't know what silly merchant, little desk thing you've got on your desk you don't want and don't keep, etc. So again,
you just get them on the high.
I get them on the high, that's right, and they remember that, and every time they hear my name, they associated it with a good feeling, and invariably we do business. So again, that's part of the creative approach of thinking outside the square, in terms of it doesn't have to be an advert, it doesn't have to be a newsletter, or if it is going to be a newsletter, what's the unique approach and strategy that fits with your brand, that's appropriate to what you're going to do. Triple chocolate brownies may not be the thing for an exclusive St George's Terrace lawyer, but maybe it should.
Going back to the basics.
But a wide variety of things. But I think thinking outside the square is really important, particularly if everybody's going down that same pathway.
Weighing up the pros and cons sometimes, and looking at the free or the cheaper or the more cost-effective ways of marketing, rather than always involving advertising into your marketing.
I think if you go back to your core foundations of understanding your operational costs, from a business coach perspective, understanding your operational costs and overheads, etc., and just knowing to open up the doors. What is it costing you? And working backwards from there, and getting a value, and then working out a strategy from there.
Brilliant. Reuben, would you like to sort of summarize or give the last like 3 top tips or something like that for the
Okay,
the
couple of things that as takeaways. One is most businesses don't invest enough money in marketing, and that's why most small businesses fail when they first start, is they haven't allocated enough money to get enough business and repeat business before they run out of money.
It is a catch-22 sometimes.
Yes, but if you do the right testing and measuring, if you view it as an investment, if you know your numbers, you should be able to invest money in knowing it's going to come back. It's just a matter is that within 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 years, whatever it might be, depending on where your business sits on that cycle, is for that to happen.
As long as there's some sort of a call to action there, because you could keep doing that for branding.
Yes, not brands. Like call to action. It should be. I invest money. I get it back.
Yes.
Critical. I think the other key takeaway is make sure you're investing money in your current customers. Yeah. I recommend 60 to 70% of your marketing budget should be with your existing customers, 20 to 30 with new, and about 10% on branding as a rule of thumb. But depending on the business and the stage of life it's at. If you haven't got any customers, well, then you'll be doing a lot more on that new customer acquisition. But most of the businesses that have been around a little while will have those customers to work with. Yeah. And the last one is when you set a marketing plan, you plan your marketing. Don't be reactive, be proactive, and make sure you plan the execution of it. So the people, getting a good marketing team around you with consultants and people who can support your business. Yeah. Because most, as I think you shared earlier, is that there's a lot of hats a business owner will wear, and they may not be consistent. So put a support structure to make it happen, because nothing happens in a business if you're not marketing. That's the start of the business.
Well said. Diann, do you have any parting words?
You've covered it quite well in the points that you've raised there, but I think definitely know your budget, know what you can afford. Don't forget to address your existing customers and have touch base points with them. They're already sold, so you don't want to lose them to your competition. Keep reviewing things, keep things fresh, and pretty much just keep on top of it and
have a consistent
follow through and have a consistent approach to it, and make it part of your week, part of your day. Schedule it in, and don't put it on the back burner behind everything else, because it's critical to your business.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Diann. Reuben, nice to have you here, and the next case study would be next month, and I look forward to discussing more.
Fantastic.
Small business challenges.
Thanks.
We'll see you
Thank
there.
you.